Hello everyone, welcome back to Vocabulary. This is episode 24, Doctors and Leaders. These are the words which we are going to cover today: gynecologist, obstetrician, obstetrics, pediatrician, pediatrics, pedagogy, pedagogue, demagogue, and demagoguery. So let's start. Gynecologist. The word gynecologist is built on Greek gyn, woman, plus logos, science. Etymologically, gynecology is the science, and actual use the medical science of women. Adjective gynecological. In its pronunciation, there's stress on call syllable, and here's a usage. Jean visits her gynecologist, whom Albert recognizes as a baby broker exposed on 60 Minutes. Obstetrician derives from Latin obstetrics, midwife, which in turn has its source in a Latin verb meaning to stand. Midwives stand in front of the woman in labor to aid in the delivery of the infant. The suffix "ician" as an obstetrician, physician, musician, magician, electrician, etc. means expert. In its pronunciation, there's a stress on trish syllable, and here's a usage. Not only did Allen perform abortions, he was also the obstetrician who delivered Karen Santorum. Obstetrics. Obstetrics has only within the last 150 years become a respectable specialty. No further back than 1834, Professor William P. Davies assumed the first chair of obstetrics at the University of Pennsylvania and had to brave considerable medical contempt and ridicule as a result. The delivery of children was then considered beneath the dignity of the medical profession. In its pronunciation, there is stress on syllable, and here's a usage. A new study released today in Obstetrics and Gynecology could close this contentious question for good. Adjective, obstetric or obstetrical. Pediatrician. Pediatrician is a combination of Greek pedos, child, iatria, medical healing, and Asian, expert. And its pronunciation is stress on trish syllable, and here's a usage. As a pediatrician who specializes in the care of adolescents, I ask my patients a lot of personal questions. Pediatrics. Pediatrics, then, is by etymology the medical healing of a child. Adjective, pediatric. The ped you see in words like pedestal, pedal, and pedestrian is from the Latin pedis, foot, and despite the identical spelling in English has no relationship to Greek pedos. And its pronunciation is stress on a syllable, and here's a usage. The American Academy of Pediatrics advocates for infants to be put to sleep in a bare crib to prevent SIDs. Pedagogy, which combines pedos with agogos, leading, is etymologically the leading of children. What do you lead them? To learning, to development, to growth, to maturity. From the moment of birth, infants are led by adults. They are taught, first by parents and then by teachers, to be self-sufficient, to fit into the culture in which they are born. Hence, pedagogy, which by derivation means the leading of a child, refers actually to the principles and methods of teaching. College students majoring in education take certain standard pedagogy courses. The history of education, educational psychology, the psychology of adolescence, principle of teaching, etc. Adjective, pedagogical. Pedagogue. A pedagogue is worse than pedagogy, but pedagogue has an unhappy history. From its original neutral meaning of teacher, it has deteriorated to the point where it refers today to a narrow-minded, straight-laced, old-fashioned dogmatic teacher. And its pronunciation is stress on pet syllable, and here's a usage. A pedagogue whose classroom lessons consist entirely of reading directly from the textbook in a monotone. Demagogue. It is a word of contempt and should be used with caution. Like pedagogue, demagogue has also deteriorated in meaning. By derivation, a leader, agogos, of the people, demos. A demagogue today is actually one who attempts, in essence, to mislead the people. A politician who foments discontent among the masses, rousing them to favor pitch by wild oratory in an attempt to be voted into office. Once elected, demagogues use political power to further their own personal ambitions or fortunes. And its pronunciation is stressed on dem syllable, and here's a usage. But as a demagogue for whom total power meant all, he realized that to capture Italy he needed the church. Demagoguery. Many leaders of the past and present in countries around the world have been accused of demagoguery. Adjective demagogic. In its pronunciation there is stress on dem syllable in hearsay usage. Verse, Romney had indulged in his own demagoguery, attacking the president for being real outsourcer in chief.